And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 in the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Kronos. His name is El Matador. In the right-hand corner of the map, playing as Gaia. His name is Matreiuss. We've got Sunday Classic number 4 on Saturday. Now, it's Sunday somewhere, I promise you. It will be Sunday where I am pretty shortly. So we'll just lock in that this is Sunday Classic. And if you don't get it, you don't get it, all right? Again, as we always do, huge shout outs to Army Corps for all that he did early days in the Age of Mythology legacy sort of top player scene and put these sort of events on for himself, mind you. But it was very, very fun to watch those back in the day. So shout outs to him, and we'll continue on that legacy. Now, meanwhile, let's check out some relics. We got an Atlantean mirror to kick this one off. Got that dwarven horseshoes in the center of the map, boosting up the cavalry HP. This is actually a really important relic in this matchup because there are 2 ways to open here. You can go for a opening of Terma, of which these dwarven horseshoes will help. So 5% extra boosted movement speed shoots them up to 5.3. I want to say movement speed, which is enough to kite Murmillos. Obviously 5.0 speed is enough to kite Murmillos as well, but there's not going to be any real way to play around that. So this is, yeah, if these players are switched on here, especially if Matreiuss is switched on, here, right? He doesn't actually go for an early economic guild at the moment. He's going for a faster advance. But if Matreiuss is switched on, takes the dwarven horseshoes, he can literally just go mass Terma, because this is a movement speed thing. This is a micro thing. If you go mass Terma with that movement speed advantage, there's very, very little that the Kronos player can do to make your life challenging until much later into the game. Obviously, going too heavy onto Terma can be a mistake, but you've also got channels, for example, on the Terma as well. So if you're running along the Lush, can be really good. But more importantly, just being able to snipe those early game Murmillo and also just being able to mass up Terma is going to be really, really strong. Now we do see a very fast Oceanus coming through for Matreiuss. Prometheus is now on the way as well, but neither player making that early Oracle hero to grab this relic does confuse me just a little bit. Matreiuss at the moment probably has the resources to do so as well, but he's just leaving this one down. We've got Eye of Horus down the bottom as well. I normally, when I go through these relics, I don't see anything that has the most gigantic of impacts onto a game, but this one is just so there we go. This one's just so absolutely gigantic. It's a must grab, and we are now going to be seeing Matreiuss going for it, and we'll see if he does decide to go into this Terma idea or not. Now, he will be under pressure early on, but having access to 1, the free hero citizen at the early game, but 2, also the Caladria, will make things very, very tricky. We see a military barracks coming through, so he's not going to be doing that mass Terma idea. Does drop 2 military barracks as well as the game is well and truly on its way, with Hand Axe coming in the main base here for Matador. He's dropped double manas. It looks like he might be thinking about a second town center, which, nope, never mind. He's going counter barracks, double counter barracks with the double mana to shoot those up. And he will be opening up with mass Terma, it looks like. So a completely opposite sort of situation as Matreiuss. Great control there with those hero citizens as a hero Murmillo getting converted. No surprises there. Military barracks getting deconstructed down. The counter barracks coming through. Matador is looking for a very, very quick advantage in this game as the Oracle hero grabbing Black Lotus. Farms here at this point is going to be very, very nice. The upgrade for the Prometheans has come through as Matador just roaming around here. He's probably not going to be able to find any kills, but especially not with the Caladria over here. Matreiuss pulls back, and I think Matador is going to be very, very happy just getting the tiniest bits of damage there, but he will be losing his Promethean here momentarily as the hero Murmillo's coming through, and we do have a hero Caraballista on the way now, which will mean Matreiuss needs to quickly assemble some Terma to deal with this, because these are not going to be enough. These Murmillo will not be enough. Look at that damage. Cannot keep it alive. Loses one there to that hero Caraballista. Over onto this side, another Murmillo getting low on HP, but does manage to pull back for the time being, down to 27 HP. The Caladria coming over here. Can he get that heal up? Looks like he's going to be okay for the time being. The Terma are now starting, but Matador has already got a Terma advantage here, which does make things very, very tricky. Over onto this side, dropping that Carnivore down straight on top of the Caraballista, however, as the Murmillo's trying to get that damage done, but will not be able to quite get in there without getting beaten up in a really, really big way. Matreiuss trying to get as much of this gold mine as he possibly can here, as the Terma numbers slowly starting to creep up. He does have HP to sort of regen here as the Terma coming through, and we'll see if Matador can get that damage on. Snipes another hero Murmillo here as well, as the Terma getting healed up. Pulling back. Has only got a handful of these Terma thus far. But look at this. Sitting at that 5.3 speed is going to be really, really big. Almost picking off the hero Caraballista down to 14 HP at the moment. Comes in. One more shot. Does manage to snipe it. Citizens over here can just pull back, retreat through. We see Watchtowers in as well, which might be enough of a win here for Matador to just say, okay, no worries. Let's start time shifting away from this, grab our town center or something behind this, and he could be okay. But nonetheless, the Prometheans continuing to make their way in here. Citizens under a lot of threat, but double Caladria out now, and there is so much healing going on that I just don't think that Matador is going to be able to make any ground here. But he does get a significant amount of early game pressure on, but it looks like Matreiuss has dealt with it. However, Matreiuss is sitting in his main base now. He's eating goats. In this side, we've got onto Hunt in the center of the map. That's a big deal there for Matador. He's not had any damage done to his economy thus far. And in fact, he can just turn around and keep on heroizing citizens at this moment if he wants to give that somewhat of a go. As the Murmillo charging in, trying to snipe down the Caraballista. Does manage to do so as the tower over here gets taken out. But that's a bit of a risky move there, because you're actually giving resources back over to Matreiuss. Citizens going down or having to pull back. They're actually not falling. He hasn't lost a single one just yet, as the Terma numbers do manage to break through here. Town center getting a fair amount of damage onto the back. But I think Matreiuss is still kind of okay, even though he's got no military left. But he does get pushed off of this gold mine. He's just going to tap out. I thought he might have been okay here, but he just could not hold this pressure. That one little movement from Matreiuss was everything. I'm a little bit startled to see him tap out there. I would have assumed just wander up to the top side, because he's got the speed on the Terma and he had so many queued up. He's going to be able to start sniping units as they move up there, but a couple of mistakes too many here from Matreiuss leads to Matador taking that first game very, very quickly. There's Murmillo over here as well. There's a whole bunch of units still remaining. Yes, it's an advantage, but I don't think it's enough. But nonetheless, first game for Matador. We're moving to game number 2, and we'll see if Matreiuss can bring it back. A very, very rare 8-minute game, though. Obviously, Cronus is the rushing god. But now that's a surprise. I honestly thought that Matreiuss was going to be okay there. He was doing such a good job of defending, and maybe he just had a little bit too much idle time on the military buildings or something. Didn't quite get the stuff out as quick as he needed to. I don't know. But nonetheless, first game down. We're going into game number 2 now, as Matador is up to 1 point. And on the drafting screen, we have a win for the Kronos and a lose for the Gaia. Thought Leader was better for Gaia versus the Crush. I just think that Matreiuss should have opened up with Terma, especially with that relic. Against, say, Oceanus, specifically like the Oceanus, you can't really open up Murmillo because there's no way to kill off those Murmillos, as they can just jump into a Sky Passage and they're really, really safe. But against Kronos, Murmillos aren't really a unit he wants to build too many of early on. Do you can open double Terma and you get into a bit of a Terma wall, which is totally fine. Obviously, you've got the option of going into Murmillos yourself, but as the Gaia, but you can always transition into that later. It's best to just get that tempo going with the Terma. But nonetheless, a quick game number 1 is what it is. This is Age of Mythology. There's going to be quick games. There's going to be long games. This next game, we're moving in onto the map Elysium, and we will be seeing a Hades versus Fushi. It looks like Hades versus Fushi. Now, okay, so on Elysium, nice and open map. However, there is room here for the Hades to grab town centers, which are really, really defensive. There's also room here for the Hades player to play incredibly aggressive. Some things like playing Hippias Toxotes, for example, and going Athena is a really nice way to open in this matchup if you want to play sort of aggressive game. The Fushi player, however, does have a pretty big advantage with that Neja that you get from obviously Fushi, which can make you have to be careful basically with how you're going to be attacking. You don't want to trade against that Neja too early on, because I mean, even if you kill it, it's going to be getting damage done and it's going to basically pay for itself every single time. So you have to be careful. You have to make sure you take good trades. If you go Hippias Toxotes and your opponent goes for the Chiyol, however, you're going to have to be really careful playing against those halberdiers. But if he goes to the other god, Zhennu, then obviously that's a completely different kettle of fish. However, either case, you've got options to do a slight amount of pressure into a town center if something like that happens, and then you can play a defensive Hades game and try and bring this game late. That's going to be your sort of goal. However, Fushi also has a pretty strong late game, definitely can compete against Hades in the late game. So just getting to the late game is not enough here due to John Wick and also Neja getting into that Mythic Age. But John Wick is the big one, as well as having access to pretty strong cavalry and all the other good stuff that happens in that very, very late game. Now we're going to be getting into game number 2. As we've got... Hey, here we go. All right, let's go. Alrighty, into game number 2 here. We got Matador. He is playing as Fushi. In the left-hand corner of the map, we have ourselves Matreiuss playing as Hades. So we've just talked about it a lot. But taking a look at the map, we'll see if there's anything here that is in particularly good or bad for either player. So at first glance, there's some town centers that are quite far away from the base. But if you grab these, then you can start easily walling up positions. So for example, if Matreiuss grabs this town center somehow, some way, I don't know if he can actually grab this one against an early aggression from the Fushi easily, but nonetheless, if he grabs this one here, he's got a wall, he's got a wall, he's got a wall, and then he's got a gold mine. That's very, very tough for Matreiuss to raid. So town center, sentinels, and walls, and then potentially even dropping some towers down or something like that could be an angle for him to go for. On the flip side here, Matador, he's got the same options if he wants to go for a town center, but realistically here, I almost think he should be thinking one town center angles in this game. Even if the Hades player goes for this back town center here, or like you're okay with that because you can start peppering the main base, kind of afford gold mine, and then all the other gold mines afford, and then you just want to push forward and just take the entirety of the map. This is Elysium. This is an aggressive map. Very, 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 very aggressive map. The defense is generally difficult, though there are a lot of matchups where things can go the defender's way. But nonetheless, it's going to be a lot of fighting for the middle, and we'll see exactly how it's going to go in this one. As I'm sure here that Matador, well, I'm not sure, but my guess is he's going to go for the Chi angle here. Gennu does make some sense on the side of economy. You can go for reincarnation technology, which is really, really good at basically just giving you units back. So it effectively gives you almost a 20% refund on every single one of the units you lose. That's effectively, I mean, it gives you 1 unit back every 5 units of the same type that dies. So very, very good, very, very good technology there. But we are going to be seeing the Chi Yao. I'm not exactly surprised about this. The big thing that this does is it doesn't necessarily shut down cavalry play, but it makes the Hades player have to be really, really careful. And Hippias are kind of blind. So you got to be super careful while also having blind Hippias. As the classical age is coming through, a bit of a strange build here from Matreiuss, grabbing his technology a little bit later than everyone else does, but it realistically, it doesn't matter that much unless you've got some very specific timings you're going for. We haven't done any checks on the relics just yet. There's Anvil of Hephaestus here, which is going to be gold. Research cost minus 50%. Over here, we've got the skulls of the Cercipes here, which is monkeys, 6 monkeys getting spawned there, which is always nice. Over here, we've got Tusk of Iron Boar, another little cavalry relic, S tier cavalry relic here. This is one you want to keep away from the Fushi at all costs, because effectively, if Matador grabs this, then all of a sudden, Matador has got the advantage of Nouveau, right? He's got the advantage of Nouveau, so you don't want to be dealing with Nouveau plus Fushi, right? Like that's what that relic is, and it does look like. Well, does Matreiuss see it? He hasn't spotted. Oh, he just barely misses it with the Minotaur here. He's going up to the top and maybe looking for the blue crystal shard. Yeah, he's going for blue crystal shard. It's a great relic as well. Going to be boosting up that economy ever so slightly there. As Najar is out, a couple of pioneers coming through. It is looking here like Matador is going to go for a town center. On the flip side, there is that stable out for Matreiuss, which personally I like this idea. Get a little bit of early game pressure in, and Matreiuss will see the relic here. Will he notice it or not? On the other side here, we've got Matador. He's seen it. He knows it's here. But Matreiuss is not picking it up, which is making me very, very nervous for him. Meanwhile, we do have a military camp coming in as the Yatza spots this. There's a Minotaur in the main base playing defense here as the Yatza has to pull back ever so slightly. The scout on this side going to go down. Skulls of Cercipes is going to get picked up here. Still up now. Achilles does come back. Matreiuss notices. He sent his Achilles forward here to try and deny town centers. But now that the military camp is up, and it's a attachment on the military camp, very, very expensive here. Matador does not want to get raided into the ground. He is playing defense, and that makes perfect sense in this situation. Gets himself the monkeys as well. Does not need to rush up a town center in this point. If it's going to be cavalry, if it's going to have to be Toxotes as well, which does mean that Matador can basically stay on the military camp. He does not need an extra one. He can go a whole bunch of halberdiers, and then he can go a whole bunch of javelineers. The natural change there, or addition to Matreiuss's army, would then be to add in some hoplites, which would finally force Matador off of that military camp, as the Achilles chasing down the Yatza, but it gets back to safety. Good defense there from Matador, as the Hippias checking things out over here. And he gets caught by the monkeys. Monkeys OP. He loses 2 Hippias for free there, and now the Halberdier have got themselves that master of weaponry tech in, and yeah, this is where things get incredibly scary. Hippias coming up to the top side. Matador pulls back. Matreiuss is searching over onto this over onto this location here. The villagers might go down, but I mean, even if you lose a villager here, the halberdiers just say, I'm sorry for your loss. Oh my god, why did you bother building Hippias here? Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, town center coming up for Matreiuss. The timing, however, coming through for Matador, incredibly scary here. Archery range is up. Matreiuss needs to pull back. He needs to run those Hippias away, otherwise they get caught out by the halberdier. Does manage to get away without losing one, though this one does get caught, and that one's going to go down as well, as Matreiuss is in a lot of trouble. Zom gets dropped down. And there's so many dead cavalry already here as the monkeys getting sniped. Nijar going to snipe down the Minotaur as well. But with the town center up, Matreiuss is going to be able to grab this back food here. And we also see a town center coming through for Matador. He realizes that he's done enough damage here. He's gotten enough units out that he can survive anything that Matreiuss is going to be throwing at him, so why not drop the town center? But it is late here. It is behind Matreiuss. He doesn't see the town center. Both players are taking that really, really defensive one. And, I mean, if you had to give the advantage to the map here to someone, I would be saying Matador's got the better map. He's got a gold mine really close to him, to his second town center, which will mean these Wildfoot can start over here and get some stuff here. As the arts are coming in, we'll spot the town center. Hippias going to be searching for something, but you've got to be, like I said, you just got to be so obscenely careful with Hippias when raiding, because it's just such a tough position to be in. Nijar getting more value here as the Ajax pulls back, tries to get underneath the tower there. Gets one shot off, but the arrows do miss, and Matador is more than happy to just take this fight, get those pokes in. He's fast. The kid is fast. He does damage, and the Ajax turns around, and I think he might be falling there as Nijar now down to 34 HP. So somewhat of a decent trade as the Herdman in defense. Little bits of defense or micro from Matreiuss is trying to keep everything alive here. There's no halberdier over here anymore as the villagers have been pushed off of the Gazelle. So a little bit of a win there for Matreiuss, but look at the food situation for Matador. He's got 900 food. He's got that gold coming in as well. Cheeky little wall coming up onto this side as the Achilles looking through here as well. Meanwhile, an armory coming down for Matreiuss as he wants to go to the next age. No surprises there. Matreiuss has forced Matador, I would say, a little bit out of book here. Now, I'm going to start talking about this because I think this is a really, really important part about Age of Mythology, which maybe hasn't really been explored. So, effectively, there are some strategies which players have worked out that are really, really strong. However, they're really strong in situations where, like, you know what your opponent is doing. Like, you've played against what they're doing. Your opponent, both players are doing really strong strategies, right? So we do see a little cheeky Yatsa raid over here sniping a villager. However, there are other strategies available to the gods, which are like 95, 97% as effective or have that potential, right? And it can just take you down a slightly different path through the game. It's going to give you an advantage somewhere else. So while Matreiuss has lost a lot of Hippias here, he did force out a whole bunch of Halberdier, which to some degree aren't that important for what Matreiuss' unit composition is going to be in the later stages of this game. Matreiuss will be making somewhat of a change here into Peltast, into Hoplites, Toxotes, that sort of a comp. So yeah, both players spending resources on this unit, but they're both going to be having to make a transfer into something else a little bit later, which then changes everything in terms of timings and all that other good stuff that happens here. As Matreiuss returning back over onto this side, he's shown himself a few times here. Matador is really, really active on his mini-map, especially when not much is going on, and he pulls back immediately there. He kind of knew. He was waiting for the Hippias to come through. He was waiting till the last moment there, I have to imagine, as the fortress now up onto the middle gold mine. The boom has been successful for both players. There's a slight villager advantage for Matador. Matreiuss has got himself Volts of Erebus. He's got the stronger villagers, but there's the Quailfu out. There's around about 5 Quailfu here, I think. Let me see if I can... So he's got 6 Quailfu total. So there is a villager advantage, I would say, for Matador at the moment, or an income advantage here for Matador, but it's not enough, I wouldn't say, to be giving a gigantic, a winning advantage over to Matador here. So Matreiuss does not need to panic. Wall's coming up, ready to start defending himself on this position, still making those Hippias, mind you, which is surprising to me. He did make himself medium Hippias as well, which is probably an overspend. Though maybe he wants to make Prodromus later, which makes some sense too. So we'll wait and see. Meanwhile, on the other side here, Matador, he's going to be going in for those heavy white horse cavalry. He's got Levy in as well, so those cavalry are going to come out much, much quicker. And he's going to be looking for some raids here. As Matreiuss pokes his head forward, this Hippias gets very confused about his life as he gets beaten around, but we'll be able to pull out of that position. And Matreiuss now does say, okay, it's time for military academies. So this makes perfect sense. I am still a little bit confused about the medium cav, but nonetheless, Wall's coming up over here, and Matador is in full send mode for the time being. Fire Archer trying to poke down a villager over here, but we'll get those walls up to some degree. There is a Underworld for the time being. These Petropoli out at this point is very, very aggressive. As the Peltas snipe a couple of those archers down. Restoration, very helpful here. Lightning weapons comes through, and Matreiuss says, great, let me run. I do not want to be close to you anymore. Let me pull back over here. The Manticore does get gets stunned up there as some hoplites charging in to their death. There is this fortress here going to be helping out a little bit into the main base. He's got himself the sentinels as well as the fortress. So a very, very dangerous position to be in as Matreiuss trying to hold on to this position. There's so many units here though for Matador. He's got 70 military at the moment to 44, but a fortress in is unfortunately targeting down the Tao Wu at the moment. So not getting that value that he needs here to kind of hold on to this position. But the Tao Wu now down, and all of a sudden those front units are going to start taking some damage. And Matador, he's paying attention to that stuff. You can see the moment the Tao Wu fell, he says, all right, I'm out of there. That was a scary position to be in. Gets some damage done, pulls back, and now what? A ballet up onto this position. As you go for a town center here, that's another idea at this point. He's got a lot of resources there to go for that. Could be an idea. A couple more archer ranges on the way. Matreiuss has to play some incredibly good defense at the moment, but the Yatza does spot some villagers up onto this side, and Matador, he is not going to be allowing a random pack of villagers to be up here. He's pulling back. These villagers get spotted. Matreiuss says, all right, time for a counter raid. We'll be spotting a town center here. Those White Horse Cavalry not here to defend. So some serious damage, or at least not damage, but like some prevention over here. Some counter raid coming in. But now the villager differential is getting out of control, as there is almost, there is almost a 20 villager lead here for Matador at this point. As the hoplites taking down a handful of units, those White Horse Cavalry going to be making their way back to try and get this town center up. The Petropolis rolling forward here. Target down that settlement to at least get a little bit of damage done, but he gets that Petropolis caught out. Lose that one. That's a lot of resources down the drain. I am surprised to see these Petropoli coming down at this specific point for Matreiuss. He's in defensive mode. He's got to play. Now, obviously, if there's buildings coming up in your face, then yeah, build the siege because it's in a nice defensive spot, can fight back. But at this point, defensive mode is so important that these Petropoli just aren't going to be helping. It's just like almost a waste of resources here. Nonetheless, Petropoli are going to push in and attempt to deny the town center. A couple of shots onto the settlement will kill it off, and that's going to be resources down the drain. Nice little catch out there for Matreiuss. He needs every little bit he can here as the fire archers trying to get a little bit of damage done, but he loses a few of those as the Peltas are so strong here. Matreiuss has got to be microing those Peltas quickly onto the fire archers. Now he's going for it as the hoplites doing what they can to get some damage done onto those White Horse Cavalry, but there's just so many of them here as Matreiuss pulls his Petropoli back. Hoplites trying to come through. Does he have upgrades here? He doesn't even have himself Sarissa in just yet. But the Matador army still charging through here is fading. The military resource differential at the moment is only 1,000. I say only 1,000. That's kind of a big deal. It's not that big of an advantage for Matador at the moment. But Matreiuss taps out again. He's not... Matreiuss! What are you doing? He might be losing, but he's not losing by that much. Oh, dear. A well-played game from Matador, though. He defended everything perfectly. He is in an advantageous position, but Matador is the one who has to make stuff happen here, I would say. At least a little bit. I mean, the hoplites, these White Horse Cavalry is going to throw those away. I mean, at the moment, the map is just slowly going over to Matador as well, so he will slowly start to win this game. But nonetheless, 2 games, very quick wins here for Matador in this one. Move into game number 3 and see how things are going to go. All right, I've got some little nudges over here. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, that's the wrong button. So that game there goes in favor of the Fushi, and the Hades did unfortunately lose. Alrighty. Onwards and upwards. Game number 3, as this one is going to be on the road very, very shortly. We've got a Loki versus Zeus on Anatolia. Everyone's favorite. So, a Zeus here for Matador and a Loki here for Matreiuss. Matreiuss games don't last longer than 20 minutes. True. I do think, like, yeah, obviously you want to try and stay with it, but yeah. I go, Bart, thanks so much for the 10,000 KRW. I got no idea what that currency is, but I appreciate the support. It means an absolute ton, my friend. That means thank you so much. You legend. Loki vs. Zeus, the shit's... Yeah. Loki vs. Zeus is one of my favorite matchups for sure. We'll see if Matreiuss can pull it back here. I know Matreiuss' Loki is really good on this map as well. Matreiuss' Loki does go very, very hard on this map. But then again, Zeus is one of the strongest picks on this map as well. Lots of the top players pick Zeus here. Wait, what? Why does this say Joshua Greenberg? Hello? I don't know. We're just gonna roll with it. I'm pretty sure that something weird just happened. I'll just roll with it, okay? Let's get going. All right, we're into game number 3. For whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, We've got Matreiuss in the left-hand corner and a guy called Joshua Greenberg in the right-hand corner. This is Matador. I don't know what's happened here with this. Unless... I don't have any messages from El Matador. I'm not going to bother them during the game to check. But something weird's going on. This is Matador for all intents and purposes. And we'll see how it's going to go. But both players going for the same side here at the start. Matreiuss drops his docks. We've got a Loki versus Zeus. It's a challenging matchup for both. Let me walk you through the most important checklists for Loki to have a good game here. So checklist number 1 is to force out restoration before Nidhogg. That's really important. Reason being is Nidhogg is burst damage. Restoration can absolutely counter, with a full population army obviously, restoration can absolutely counter a Nidhogg. So that's the first thing he needs to do. Second thing he needs to be doing here is saying, okay, bronze, we got to figure out how to not lose to that. So whether that be going for a Fleming weapons idea, forcing a defensive bronze and retreating, or something like that. He's got to be proactive. And then finally, the most obvious of all of the things he has to prevent is the hoplite raids going unpunished. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I can't defend against hoplite raids. What are hoplite raids? Well, that's where the hoplites are taking out your docks and while the boats are killing you. If I can't defend against that specifically, I got to get some damage elsewhere. So that means raiding my opponent's main base, getting villager kills, or sniping units elsewhere and finding advantages where that's concerned. On the other side here, well, the Zeus game plan on this map is pretty simple. You're going to open up with some hoplites. You're going to go for those hoplite raids. You're going to go for Athena. You're going to be trying to find as much value as you can with those hoplites while not losing anything. You're going to try and get to bronze and Hera, and you're going to try and lock up the center of the map and find yourself gold mines and find yourself a win with all of that stuff. So that's the those are the important sort of ideas. Now, we can find ourselves in a game here where both players get 3 middle gold mines and then they have to start trade routes and the things can get really, really spicy here. So we'll see if that's going to end up happening. There's one other absolutely insane idea for the Loki, which is a Berserker Rock. Haven't seen it in a while. In fact, I don't think I've seen anyone ever try it at the top level, apart from myself. But idea would be that you go heavy in onto Jarl Thrown Axeman with Njord potentially, and then you also bring in the Berserks to make a big push to try and claim the center of the map and break everything while your opponent is kind of struggling to survive. Sort of thing. Anyways, I believe in the Berserker Rock. If Ragnarok is good, right? If Ragnarok is good, then Berserker Rock can also be good. Maybe not in this matchup, actually. Anyways, we do have the fishing ships motoring forward here, trying to steal a little fishing spot down the bottom. There is one spot here. There is one spot over here as well. Matreiuss is paying attention. He can steal those for just a little bit before coming back and taking these ones back. Matador's getting himself a dock over onto this side as well, as the fishing ships are still coming out for Matreiuss over onto this side. He's got the double docks down onto the back as far as he possibly can be away from the main base of Matador. As the house gets dropped down for Matreiuss, and he is going to be on his way here. Meanwhile, Dreki coming through for Matreiuss to kick the water fight off, which does mean that basically here, Matador, who will be dropping the military academy immediately, and can react pretty quickly with a trireme. However, he does end up going for the Juggernaut on the bottom side immediately as Matreiuss comes in, going to start getting some damage onto the fishing ships, and Matador here will just pull back. Matreiuss has got to pull out of that range of the dock immediately. That's a huge amount of damage onto the very first boat. Matreiuss not paying attention here. This is not ideal for him in the sliders. Meanwhile, over onto this side, the Juggernaut coming through, getting some damage done onto this side as well as the Dreki comes in, and that's going to be some nice revenge fire onto the Juggernaut. As over onto this side, we have got that dragon ship out. Meanwhile, Berserk spotting things over here. The Jason there getting some good damage done as some hoplites are coming through. The Dreki comes in, snipes down that Juggernaut, looking for some more pressure over onto this side, into the main base. One Minotaur is in here as the Villager. Nice little defense onto that one. Not able to kill that off, but the Villager is stuck here now, as Matreiuss will need to bring the villagers back over and open this position up. But the Minotaur just simply retreats to the top of the map. Going to sit over here for a little bit, as the Hearse are going to be sitting there waiting, watching. Hearse are coming over onto this side to try and take out the dock, but the hoplites are in to be a nuisance here. As Matreiuss needs to pull back, he's going to be losing some units. There he reacts a little bit on the late side, but nonetheless, that'll be a Hearse down. He's fully snared up against those 4.9 speed. Never mind. The Hearse lives, and Matador says, I want to kill off the dock here. Let me go after that one. Meanwhile, up onto this top side, Matreiuss, yet again, so much action here. Matador is one of the fastest players out there, and Matreiuss, he is a multitasking lord himself. Very, very good at that multitasking. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep up, but thus far, it is looking very, very good for Matador in this game. As the hoplites roaming forward. A couple of boats are out. A dock attempting to get thrown up over here. As an idea, as the Hearse comes in, gets a couple of smacks over onto the Minotaur, but there's still a lot of value to be claimed here for Matador at the moment. As he's coming forward. Still more Hearse. This is what I mean. Like right now, I don't think that Matreiuss can really defend against these hoplites. Hearse don't really beat hoplites in the slightest. But he could be looking for raids into the main base. He could be just saying, all right, kill off the docks. I'll come over and drop some docks afterwards, and I'll get value elsewhere. You know, just trying to find some things in different sort of positions. But nonetheless, a couple of boats coming through here for Matador as well, as Matreiuss will say, okay, time for another dock. Try and get that up as fast as I possibly can. Meanwhile, up onto this top position here, Matreiuss not paying attention. Fishing ships going down, does pull into the docks now, and Matador will immediately pull back. Having done the dash, done the deed, got the damage done. Look at the food, though. Look at the gold. Matreiuss says, it's heroic time. Armory coming up into the main base. He's defended on this side. He's still got fish going on this side, and he will be getting to the heroic age first, which means a Kraken to help with defense. But with the hoplites making their way up onto this side now, it looks like these fishing ships might be done for, and it's going to be Njord, which makes sense. But what is he going to be using these walking woods for is the big question. Eyes in the forest coming through. Longbow. Juggernaut. The Pentaconta end up falling here. Hoplite's going to be cleaning everything up onto this side. As the Hearse come through, looking for some defense. The Hoplite's going to be getting pushed back. And Matreiuss is going to be dropping a dock yet again. I love the way that Matreiuss is playing this thus far, but Matador is just getting little bits of value so consistently here. Fishing ships going down onto this side. One hoplite will end up falling. Matreiuss does have those speedy hoplites in, so he will be able to get a little bit of a snare going on the hoplites to actually take them out. But meanwhile, the dock is back up. Dionysus is now coming through for Matador as well. As the fishing ships diving into their docks, Matreiuss still trying to just hold over here. Snipes down that ramming galley, as the dragon ship will be enough here. 2 Dreki coming through. Well, that's a dragon ship actually, not a Dreki, but nonetheless, the hoplites coming back up to the top side, still trying to just slow Matreiuss down as much as possible. But with Njord in, the idea is either you're going to drop Walking Woods and clear off these docks, or you're going to look for a Walking Woods into the main base to potentially stop a Heroic Age from coming in. That being said, it doesn't quite work out that easily, as the Walking Woods does get dropped over onto this side. The Hoplites will get sent packing here. Hersa coming into the main base now, looking for some raids, as Matreiuss, for the first time here in this game, is going to start getting some damage done onto Matador. One villager going down, two villagers going down. There's just so much going on. Matador does pull back those. No, they're just pulling back. He hasn't noticed this raid just that yet. This is the damage, the absolute damage, which Matreiuss needs. Now, Matador notices. He gets 4 villager kills. He pulls back up to the top here. The Throw and Axemen are in over here to help out against those hoplites. There's also a troll here. One dock falls. Jason now coming through, as Matreiuss just needs to keep on looking for these raids while this is going on. But with the Heracles and the Jason in, that's going to be lights out for the Walking Woods. And while Matreiuss got a bit of a pushback here, he's not been able to really convert all too much at the moment. Now he's going to have to deal with the Paspist. An Iron respawn here is nice. You can trigger that one to get into the enemy base, into Matador's base here. As the Hoplite down to 1 HP does end up getting sniped. Matador under just a little bit of pressure, as another Hoplite going to be going down. Matreiuss got to be careful not to lose those units just yet, as the Navy coming up to the top side. Matreiuss has found himself somewhat of an advantage, so to speak, but he needs to be careful here. This Kraken is going to go down to myth unit, to heroes on that shore. The dock over here is going to be going down. Matreiuss could knock down the dock onto this side, as some Skylar actually coming through here. As the dock to fall over here as well. A Hydra going to be cleaning that one up, as the Hersa roam through, clean up this dock. There's only one more dock up here. Is Matador going to be attempting to put that one through there with a cheeky little villager? We'll see if he can actually finish onto that one. As the Kraken here getting sniped down. Not ideal. Great control by Matador. You've got to give credit where credit's due. He baits that one in beautifully, as Matreiuss still trying to get some units out, getting a hill fort up here as well. The big problem here is, what were those checklists that I was talking about? Number 1 is restoration. Number 2 is how you're going to deal with bronze. At this point, Matreiuss has not managed to deal with those. As the Kraken goes down, does manage to pick off the Pentacontra as well, but the Skylar is out. This dock's coming up onto this side as well. Another Skylar is over here into the main base right now. Matreiuss is going to be getting raided here. He does make a break for the tower, has to pull those villagers through both sides, move elsewhere. Houses going down. The hill fort now up, but Matreiuss really actually might be able to snipe some Skylars here. Not quite able to do so. Matador is on top of this for the time being. No Goaty onto this side either, as those two Skylar will be winning this fight very, very heavily. It looks like maybe he's going to get one. Another Kraken comes out to defend onto this position, but now the main base under threat. Hoplites going down to these Throw and Axemen, but that Hydra in this main base has got 3 heads. That is a terrifying amount of DPS. Meanwhile, into the main base here, so trying to get some villager kills, but Matador notices it. Meanwhile, the hill fort that was up here gets taken down, and it's looking like Matador is going to be able to find the advantage in this game, and he does take it. Matreiuss tries to make it work here, but Matador just that step in front of Matreiuss for the entirety of this game. It felt like there was a couple of great raids, a big nice push from Matreiuss over here, but he just could not quite get there in this one. I think if Matreiuss had gone for the Hersa raids onto the main base like early on, rather than trying to compete with the hoplites over here and just start pestering, then all of a sudden his raids on the water would get amplified, because you're getting attacked in like 2 different places at once. And you could see that it started to work, all of what Matreiuss was trying to do, a little bit later in this game. If he just got it happening much, much sooner, maybe he'd be able to find the advantage here, but it just could not work out for him. And Matador might be running to a very quick 3-0 here for Sunday Classic number 4. But we'll jump into that one and see what's going to be happening here as we jump back into the drafting screen. We'll see if Matreiuss can get that next win here. Get on the scoreboard. We're moving in onto the map Marsh here, which might end up, it feels like it might end up being a Set versus Odin here, which, while I have seen Matreiuss winning this one, it's, oops, I've got this the wrong way. Well, I have seen Matreiuss winning with Odin. I've also seen Matador winning with Odin in this matchup to some degree. The big thing here is that Matreiuss, he has to win. Maybe Matador will go a different god. I mean, he's got so many really strong gods against Odin here. You've got obviously got Set. You've got Isis. You got Shinnong. You got Freyr. I think El Matador is saving the Isis for Mirage. I think he's saving it for Mirage. Set for Marsh. Freyr for Giza. Shinnong for Bamboo Grove. So it's pretty. It seems pretty obvious which way Matador is going to be going. But Matreiuss, I mean, he's got to be getting into these gods. He has to use some of these big picks, Odin, Ra, that he picked early on, and try and find a win. Alrighty. Why do I think Matreiuss is going to pick Odin? Because it's Marsh, mostly. We're just waiting for the players to get set here. You've seen me pick Uranus on Marsh? Yeah, but that's because I'm bad. Nah, I could have won that game. I think if I go back and play it again today, I'd play much better. Alrighty. They are on their way here. Let's do this. Okay. So, oops, that's incorrect. It's this much. So what the spinning dice is doing? It's just Matreiuss didn't pick a god. There was only one god left. I think he was kind of trolling. For the memes. But yeah, he picked random for his last pick, but there was only one god. Alright, what god are we seeing here? Did I do this? I didn't. I am going to go ahead and give that tick over to Zeus. And for Loki is a death. Meanwhile, it is going to be Odin versus Set. So I called it right. I know what I'm talking about from time to time here. It's definitely winnable for Odin, but it is tough. It is very, very tough. Because Set is going to be all over you. Set is going to be all over you. So I gotta pray. I gotta pray for Matreiuss to pull some Matreiuss out here. He is, I do think he's one of the best Norse versus Egyptian players out there. There's not many people better than him in this matchup. But Matador is also an incredibly good Egyptian player. He's also an incredibly good Norse player himself. So he knows where the cracks are for Egyptian. So we'll see if it's going to be a quick sweep here for Matador, or if things will go a different way as we move into game number 4. And here we go. Matador in the right-hand corner. Set. Matreiuss in the left-hand corner. Odin. And Matreiuss does get hit with the forward gold mine. This isn't the end of the world. This is not the end of the world. Generally speaking, the early game here for Odin is actually sort of Odin favored. There's not going to be any problems on this gold mine early on. He's got boars right in front of him. He's also got these deers here that one idea would be to move forward, eat these boars, save these deers for a little bit later, herd them in to the town center, eat them underneath the town center. But when you've got the gold mine here anyways, you kind of like stuck in between a rock and a hard place with the fact that if you're going to lose this area, well, you would lose this area as well. So why bother? Why not go for the scouting and all the other good stuff? But anyways, let's take a little look at the scouting going on. Does unfortunately miss that priest up in the top that's grabbing the boars, as Matador is going to be enjoying some boars over here, scouting down onto the bottom side of the map, and we will take a little look-see at these relics now and see if anything's going to be a big help. Armor of Achilles is a vulnerability to hack minus 5%. Over onto this side, we've got that Fetters of Fenrir, which is going to be a 30% of base for the melee and ranged attack. Going up, we've got that Adamantine Shingles, hit points plus 200%. Up to this side, we've got Nose of the Sphinx, which is making those buildings 15% stronger. Blue Crystal Shard over onto this side, making the Golden Wood 5% better. And Tail of Cerberus here, with the myth units getting a little bit more of those special abilities off a little quicker. As Pickaxe coming through for Matador. Temple coming up as well for Matreiuss. And the game is going to be, well... Alright, let's talk about ways in which Odin can find advantages here. So the big weakness, so to speak, for Set is that Set's army, specifically the Axemen and the Spearmen, are slow. So your goal here for the Odin is to run around wherever the Set army is. If the Set's putting pressure onto you, you want to run around and you want to snipe those units that are coming in, and then you want to lock half of the army or whatever's building up over here. You want to lock that off from being able to return to the main army, and then you want to collapse in onto the main army and kill it. The problem here is, in doing that, then you're going to have the entirety of your base open to getting pressured, which is going to be very, very challenging. Now, I imagine Matador, he's going to be going for Anubis. At the moment, Anubis is the flavor of the month, so to speak. We did see a ton of tar early on, right, with the Mr. sort of Wadget Strangle. As the game has evolved, we're now seeing players going a lot more Anubis. I still think that tar is still very, very good. Definitely worth going. Definitely very strong. But the Anubis is maybe a little bit more Matador style, a little bit more some other people's style as well. Did I say Set spears are slow? I said axes and slingers, not spears. The spears are quite fast, but raiding cavalry are fast, so they move at 6.0 speed. Nonetheless, a great haul coming up for Matreiuss. Maybe I did say the spears are slow. I didn't mean to. I meant axes and slingers. I don't know. Matreiuss now going to be swinging through, looking for a little something to take out. We'll see if we can find that, but realistically, early game, your goal with this Valkyrie should be to try and track down the early Anubite, as Matador here going to be dropping a cheeky little vision down. He also goes for a Plague of Serpents here. This is not a particularly good usage of Plague of Serpents. Sure, the villagers get idled for 30 seconds. So, what are you losing? 5 times 30? He can just run with those as well. He does not need to stay here. He can also bring the Valkyrie back and heal everyone up. But now, the Anubites coming through. And this is where I guess the damage is going to come through as the villagers pulling. They walk towards the Anubites. A great ox cart micro from Matreiuss. He keeps that villager alive with 3 HP. Now the Valkyrie in hot pursuit. He does not need to... Oh, God, what are they doing? He does not need to chase these with everything. He can just chase him with the raiding cavalry, and that's totally fine. He can pull back, get that villager healed up, start looking for some more favor to produce some more Valkyrie. But so far, no significant damage from Matador, and Matador is now down. Plague of Serpents. I think this is an incredibly good spot now for Matreiuss to be in. He's going to start working on getting favor in, sniping the boars in the center of the map. He can move forward, grab the boars here, saving those water buffaloes for a little bit later. And Matador says it's town center time. It's town center time. This is not a hyper-aggressive Matador in the slightest. Matreiuss here doesn't know about it just yet. He's got to be thinking, well, what is he doing then? If he's not going for a full all-in in this game, as the raiding cavalry coming over here will spot priest. If he's not going for a full all-in, where are the units? What's he doing? Is he just sitting here? He's got to be doing something. Villagers up onto this spot. They do have a gold mine over here, but this is not a safe gold mine. You can just drop a dock, you can get a transport ship, and you're on this gold mine in a heartbeat. As a couple of spearmen get spotted in the middle of the map here. The longer this goes on, the further Matreiuss is almost forced in to a very, very all-in game plan here. As Forest Fire gets dropped onto the middle. He wants to snipe this Anubite. Can he get it? No. Oh, yes, he does get it. He's going to continue to charge forward. The spearmen pick off 2 raiding cavalry for it, however. But Matador, he does not need to do anything here. He can sit back. He can enjoy the town center advantage that he's got. It looks to me like Matreiuss, he does now know that the town center is up. He's going to be attempting to find some damage with these units, but it looks like he's going for a town center in the center of the map. He's got these Valkyrie as well. Villagers coming through, going to be repairing up the wall. Lovely play there, as the raiding cavalry getting a little bits of damage done. Still trying to take the walls down. Attacking both of these walls is almost the secret to getting through here, as the spearmen, however, getting damage done. Those raiding cavalry falling. Matreiuss just not going to be able to get through here all too easily. And at this point, it's full spearmen, and Matreiuss really needs to move away from the full, as the Anubite over here. Matreiuss needs to move away from like spamming full cav at the moment. But one Valkyrie sitting in the back here, just playing defense is really nice. And I think though with Matador spotting the town center going up, he can almost consider just going to the heroic age now. He's got the food income, just needs a little bit more gold. One thing here that Matreiuss can do is lock off this gold mine. We are seeing villagers moving over here. Does Matreiuss know about this? He does know there's a gold mine there. I want to see a dock. I want to see transport ships. I think that's the way to go. The Valkyrie over here spots an Anubite. That Anubite's going to be going down. You reasonably can't get away from a Valkyrie at this point. He snipes that one. And we are seeing the heroic age coming through as Matreiuss around the back here will be spotting the villagers, but Matador pulls back quickly. Spearmen are in position to defend, and he's going to have to run. Now, obviously, I've got omniscience. I see the map. I know there's villagers here. But at this level, building a dock and a transport ship to get behind the walls of your opponent, that's got to be standard at this point. You just have to. You can't, like, players should not be allowed to be on this type of a gold mine here without defenses there. And at this point, Matador is getting away with murder on that position. Just losing a raiding cavalry there as well. Gonna pop his Valkyrie around to get a little bit of damage done. Njord queued up now for Matreiuss as well. He is behind by just over 10 villagers. Has not managed to get any kills in just yet. Which will give Matador a lot of advantage here to make something happen. There's a longhouse coming through for Matreiuss. He's grabbing himself that Thundering Hooves tech. Still trying to poke forward. And Matador is going to say, well, what are you going to do here? I'm going to put a Migdol up in your face. What are you going to do? And Matreiuss says, I guess I'm just going to allow it, because what else am I supposed to do? Charging forward with the raiding cavalry, trying to get through. He loses everything on that run through, but throwing action, getting those spearman numbers down. As the Valkyrie tanking up nicely here. But those priests are in, and those Valkyrie are going down. Those numbers are not too strong at the moment. Njord coming through as well. Matreiuss not really microing here. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the game, the series, the match is over in record time. As Matador too strong in this one for Matreiuss. Not a repeat, unfortunately, of the Mythic Wars series 3-2. This one is very, very quick. Congratulations to Matador, and appreciate everyone for tuning in for Sunday Classic number 4.